When I pulled into my driveway that Tuesday evening, I expected nothing more than a quiet night. Instead, I found flashing police lights, a drone buzzing overhead, and, believe it or not, a Domino's delivery guy crouching behind my rose bushes, still holding a pizza box like it was a shield. On the porch stood my wife, Emily, looking more irritated than worried, flanked by two confused police officers. And there, in the middle of my driveway, arms crossed like she was the judge and jury of the world, stood none other than Margaret Ellis, our overbearing HOA president. She was pointing at my wife as if she had caught some dangerous criminal, and the reason for all this chaos? According to Margaret, Emily was guilty of suspicious silence. Translation: she didn't answer the door the fourth time Margaret came knocking that day. My name is Daniel Carter. I'm 38. I work in IT, and I moved here with my wife 2 years ago for peace and quiet. The houses were beautiful. The lawns were green. The neighborhood looked perfect. Until we met Margaret. Now Margaret, a 61-year-old retired teacher, had turned her small position as HOA president into what she thought was a royal crown. She ran this community like a kingdom, and, trust me, she loved the power. While most neighbors stayed out of her way, my wife Emily wasn't the type to be intimidated. What Margaret didn't know was that Emily wasn't just a regular neighbor. She was a decorated police officer quietly preparing for her promotion to chief. At first, Margaret's visits were just annoying, reminders about the length of our grass, the angle of our porch light, or whether our trash cans were aligned perfectly at the curb. But then she got bolder. She started showing up during Emily's online training sessions, knocking, ringing, and demanding attention. She even spread rumors online that our house might be some kind of illegal operation. It all came to a boiling point one Thursday. Emily was in the middle of her final interview with the police commission, the one that would decide her promotion. Margaret, furious that Emily wasn't answering, decided to escalate. She knocked. She rang. She tried the back door. And when none of that worked, she called 911. Minutes later, 2 squad cars showed up. Margaret was recording on her phone, loudly accusing Emily of antisocial behavior and possible criminal activity. She even brought a timeline of incidents, like the times Emily didn't wave back or parked an inch too far from the curb. When Emily finally opened the door, calm as ever, the officers froze. "Lieutenant Carter?" one of them asked. Wide-eyed, Emily smiled. "Actually, soon-to-be Chief Carter." You should have seen Margaret's face. Her confidence cracked instantly. The officers, who actually knew and respected Emily, turned from her to Margaret with pure disbelief. "Ma'am," one officer said slowly, "you called 911 because the future chief of police didn't answer her door during a meeting?" Margaret tried to recover, mumbling about protecting the community. But it was too late. Filing a false report was no small matter. The officers warned her on the spot, and Emily made sure a record of her harassment was officially filed. The fallout was brutal. Margaret was fined for abusing emergency services. Even worse, the HOA board finally had enough. They voted her out as president, effective immediately. Her only supporter? A proxy vote she had somehow filed in her cat's name years earlier. Emily, meanwhile, stood proudly the next morning at City Hall, officially sworn in as chief of police. The local news covered it. Neighbors congratulated her. And Margaret? She was left red-faced, humiliated, and banned from HOA leadership for 5 years. In the end, Margaret thought she was exposing a criminal. Instead, she exposed herself and lost the power she clung to so desperately.